Buongiorno and welcome to another edition of Meet Your Neighbor. My name is Ron Falconi. I live here in the great city of Brunswick, Ohio with my family in the Fairways subdivision. And I had this idea back in, it was the fall of '06, where I wanted to invite local politicians, local business people down to the studio so that all of you could meet your neighbor. We have a very special guest today. He is an agent with New York Life, and his last name is pretty familiar here in the Brunswick area. His name is Ryan Carlson. Ryan, welcome to the studios.
Hi, Ron. Thanks for having me over today.
So how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good so far.
Brian, tell us something about yourself that maybe not too many people know about you.
Well, I grew up here in Brunswick mostly, but before I came to Brunswick, I moved around quite a bit as a child.
Oh, you did?
I don't know if anybody around here knows that story, but I had actually born in Cincinnati, so proud to say I'm a Buckeye. And then we went to North Carolina, Indiana, Texas, California, and back to Ohio before we settled here in Brunswick.
Oh, wow. Well, why did you guys move around so much?
It was my father's job. He had opportunities to continue moving, and we were road warriors and said, all right, let's go.
That's good. Ryan, your last name is Carlson, and I know it's a pretty popular name here in the city of Brunswick. Can you explain the Carlson name?
Yeah, so I am related to the Carlsons of the Carlson Funeral Home family.
Okay, right there on Pearl, right?
Road,
okay.
Yep, 1642 Pearl Road. And so I grew up working with them and had opportunities to be doing that for quite a while. So I think my family's been in the town since 1961.
Oh, wow.
And been a long time here that we've been here. But yes, that is how I am related.
Okay. Hey, Ryan, can you tell us, how did you decide to enter the insurance field?
Well, what really took place was, as a child, I knew business was an area that I wanted to focus on from the time I think I was in like 7th grade, so very, very young. When I got to college, I knew that I wanted to be in finance, and I have my bachelor's in finance.
Okay.
And I got into New York Life through a friend because I had some aversion to the industry at first, as I'm sure a lot of people do, and I found a company that fit my moral and ethical values, and it was a great opportunity to go to work for a financial firm that believed what I believed in.
That's good. Now, how long have you been at New York Life?
Just over a year now.
It's over a year now, okay. I've had several guests on the show. I've had a county commissioner, I've had the muni clerk of court, I've even had a juvenile court magistrate. But can you refresh our memory or tell us what does an insurance agent do?
Well, as an insurance agent with New York Life, we focus mostly on life insurance. So that's
life insurance, okay.
Yeah, that's a large part of what we do. We do have ways to help people with other forms of insurance, but my focus is on finding the right life insurance plan. I also have a staff, though, of people with 60 years of experience with other financial services, and we do provide full financial services. And that's actually one of the challenges I face when I speak to people, is to let them know that that isn't one of the things that we can do. It's one of the many things that we do. And when I speak to people, much like the Cleveland Clinic doesn't have a drive-through window, you have no way of diagnosing a problem until you get an opportunity to sit down and speak with people. So I never try to assume that when I meet someone, life insurance is going to be the answer to their problems.
Okay. We
sit down and do an exam, and at the end of the exam, then I get together with a group of people and we come up with a game plan that seems to fit what the need is. And oftentimes life insurance can be a piece of that.
Okay. Ryan, what kind of classes or training do you have to take in order to be an insurance agent?
Well, the state of Ohio and the government requires that you take a life and health class if you want to sell life insurance.
Okay.
So you have to have that requirement. And then
where do you take those classes?
There's multiple options. Some people are able to take them in a classroom setting. For myself, I was able to take actually an online course.
Oh, okay.
And do a self-study, and then when the self-study was completed, I went to a proctored exam, took the exam, and passed the exam. So then you apply to the state to get your license once you have completed the necessary steps.
Okay. Now, is New York Life, is that just life insurance, or does New York Life do anything did they sell other kinds of insurance, or what's
we focus mostly on the life insurance portion. We do have access to other forms of insurance. If somebody needs some help getting that, I'll
Okay.
never turn that down, and we'll find a way to get you help, even if it isn't with me directly.
Okay.
But New York Life being a mutual company, one of the nice things that we do is we actually don't have stockholders within our company. Our policy holders are the stockholders, if you will, and we pay the profits back to our policy holders. So one of
okay.
the nice things I get to do is also sit down and explain to them how that process works.
Okay. When someone's out shopping for life insurance, what are some of the things that they should be looking for?
Well, a lot of times people pick an arbitrary number, and I would caution against that. So
Like,
one of the first
25,000 or 50,000 or something.
Exactly, or they'll say, well, I just want to have my mortgage covered. I may want to have 2 times my mortgage, something similar to that.
Okay.
Make sure that you have someone who will sit down with you and really look at what you need. You may be overpaying. You may be overinsured. Of course, you could be underinsured. We really don't know, and that harkens back to the exam that I was speaking of earlier, why we take the time to sit down and figure out what the need is. And then the other thing you have to consider is there's different forms of life insurance. And there's going to be a range of options you're going to have available when you do decide you want insurance. And so the biggest question you really have to ask yourself before you sit down and shop is, what do I want this money to do for me?
Okay.
Do I want this to just cover my mortgage? Do I want to leave a legacy to my children or grandchildren? Do I want to pay my final expenses? Do I want to leave money to my wife in case I pass away so that the kids don't have to go to daycare or she doesn't have to go back to work, et cetera? So those are some things to consider.
Okay. Ryan, can you describe what's a typical day for you like? Is there a typical day for you?
Well, I'm very happy to say for me that there is not a typical day, which is good, a little bit of variety. But oftentimes I'll get up very early in the morning. I like to process my paperwork before the phones are ringing. And then I usually have an opportunity to work at home during that period of time and get some emails and phone calls out of the way. Then oftentimes it's off to the races, meeting with clients where they want to meet. So that could be if you
So you can meet them anywhere then, not just at your office. I mean, like at a restaurant or anywhere, I guess, huh?
Yeah, correct. Very often up at Starbucks here on 303.
Okay.
Or Kelly's Cafe there on 42. Depends on where they want to go. So my day can go in different directions. I work with clients all over the city, so it's not just here in Brunswick. I mean, I could be on the east side, west side, south side, just kind of all over town.
Okay. Ryan, what are some typical issues that you deal with as an agent?
A couple of challenges that I run into is when working with financial services, there is a large amount of negative publicity out there right now when you think about, like the Bernie Madoff types. So overcoming that trust factor is usually one of the first steps that you have to take. And then the second one is also getting people past the fact that if they want to sit down and talk, I don't want them to think that I have an agenda of what I want them to do going into the conversation, because without that exam piece, I don't have it. So the challenge is getting past some of the preconceived notions of who a financial service professional is.
Sure. Ryan, now you said you meet your clients, just about wherever they want you to meet. But do you have like a particular office? Where's the business located?
Our main office is in Seven Hills, just on the edge of Independence, off of Rockside Road.
Okay.
So I usually do spend about 50% of my time over there, because after I have meetings, any paperwork or internal meetings and things like that will take place over at that office. So I do have an office over there if people want to meet with me there.
Okay. And what are your hours?
That again,
usually you have typical hours, man.
Yeah, that usually depends on my clients, what they want to do, when it's convenient for them. I try to stay within normal business hours if we can make it work from 8 to 5, but quite frequently a lot of people have to wait until they get finished with the work day, and usually that's when my day will begin.
Okay. No, are you, let me ask you some personal questions.
Sure.
Are you married? Do you have any kids?
I am married.
Okay.
My wife is Amanda, and I have 2 daughters. They are twins. They're 11 months old, and their names are Kaylin and Finley.
Oh, wow. How did you come up with the names?
Interesting story. We knew we wanted to have some Irish Catholic names, and we could not agree on the names. My wife and I, when we were expecting, didn't have, we didn't know the genders. So we had to pick out 2 boys' names and 2 girl names. And it kind of fell that one of the girl names was one that I cared for a lot. One was one that my wife cared for. So we liked not only the names, but what they meant and then the history behind the names.
That's
because
nice.
they have these stories of how these ladies became saints.
Oh, wow.
So
that's interesting.
so-
Now, Ryan, you brought some pictures for us to see, and maybe if we
did.
can, Ben, if we can roll some of those right now, and perhaps we could review that. Over here, oh, they're adorable.
Yeah, this is-
OHIO.
Yeah, we are Buckeye fans, and we definitely want our girls to grow up as Buckeye fans. We have a few family members who attended there. This was Halloween. We have a peanut and a pumpkin because those are their nicknames from the time they were in the NICU at Rainbow Babies and Children. There's my wife, Amanda, and this was a recent picture coming back from church the other day.
Beautiful family.
Well, thank you. I'm a little biased, but I like them. And then
Who are
this
these
is,
people?
yeah, this is actually a picture of the first family that I had helped out
wow.
to protect. They've got the house, the wife, and the kids, so that was a good thing. And then
Nice.
over here, more
and the
Buckeyes.
girls again?
Yeah, the little cheerleader outfits. My wife was a cheerleader at North Olmsted High School, and so she wants the girls to maybe get into that as they get older. So
Oh, that's good. That's
There we
good.
go.
Beautiful, beautiful photos there.
thanks.
Hey, when you're not dealing with, life insurance, what are some of the things you'd like to do for fun?
Well, I've always kind of been a city person, so I do take time to go down to the city if there's things going on down there or events going on.
Okay.
My wife and I like to explore different cultures, so we'll attend different cultural events or restaurants
that's
that
nice.
have some different ethnic foods. So that's something that we like to do for fun. And I'm a big music nut, so we spend a lot of time going to concerts and things like
Yes.
that. So
That's good. What kind of music do you like?
I'm all over the board.
Okay.
Not big into country or hip hop too much, but I'll go anywhere from classical music to heavy metal to classic rock to pop. Just kind of all over the map. A lot of blues lately.
Oh, that's good.
Depends on what the mood strikes me, I guess.
Hey, Ryan, for every guest on the show, I'd like to play a game of fill in the blank.
Okay.
When I was a child, I blank.
Okay, when I was a child, let's see, well, from moving around a lot, I think that's where I got my sense of exploration. And I used to bug a lot of adults by doing that little tugging on their shirt going, why, why? Because I like to learn and I like to understand not just why we're, what we're doing, but why we're doing something. So as a child, I probably annoyed a few people with a lot of questions.
Hey, Ryan, the one place I want to travel to in the world is, but I haven't been there yet.
That's a pretty big list because I like to travel. There's a few things. If I really had to pick, my wife and I would like to go back to Ireland and Germany because that's where her family is from.
Wow.
That's where my family is from, and we've always kind of wanted to see that portion of the world.
So you've been to Germany before?
We've not. That's
Oh,
where I
sorry.
want
You
to
haven't
travel
been.
to.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
exactly.
Okay.
No, it's on the list.
What about at the other end of the spectrum? When I retire, I blank.
Well, we've tried to put some thought into that. My wife and I are actually also very big coffee nuts. We took our honeymoon and went to Costa Rica and toured some coffee plantations.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
We've thought about potentially buying some property down there, and although I don't want to be a beach bum, it might be nice to have that. But I think a lot of it's going to be focused around getting a chance to be with my family members, getting a chance to be with my friends, and then probably doing a lot of traveling.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Ryan, can you give any neighborly advice to people who are watching right now in Brunswick, Brunswick Hills Township, Wadsworth Township, or people watching on the internet right now?
Well, a lot of what I do try to do with my free time is find out there's a lot of opportunities for people to do things within their community through volunteer or charity work. And there's also a lot of local events. And we try to, my wife and I try to support local businesses, try to shop local. We try to get involved in community events. And I would just urge people to, care for your neighbors. And you can care for your neighbors by not only keeping an eye on their properties for them, but also getting out and doing things within the community, like supporting where your neighbors work.
Sure. Ryan Carlson, agent for New York Life, thanks for coming down to the studios
Ron.
today.
Appreciate it.
My name is Ron Falconi. I am the host of Meet Your Neighbor, and I wanted to thank Ryan Carlson for coming down to the studio today and chatting with us. Yeah, I doubt there's anything more profound to be said. My name is Ron Falconi, and I am signing off. Arrivederci.